The following modules were developed as a community service in partnership between the Unified Government of Wyandotte County and the Housing and Credit Counseling, Inc. of Topeka, Kansas, HCCI. A series of 6 modules were developed by HCCI to address frequent and regular community issues that arise in the landlord-tenant arena. The 6 module topics include leases, security deposits, notices, evictions, move-in and move-out inspections, and renters' rights. All information discussed in the Landlord Tenant Modules can be referenced in the Kansas Residential Landlord and Tenant Act, or the KRLTA. To learn more about HCCI and HCCI services, including landlord-tenant information, publication and forms, or if you need to speak to a landlord and tenant counselor, please call 785-234-0217 or go to www.hcci-ks.org. Module 4, Security Deposit, reference KSA 582550. Security deposit amounts, return, damages for noncompliance. What is a security deposit? A security deposit is insurance for landlords. It protects against the risk of damage to a rental unit. Security deposits can be used by landlords to apply to rent when tenants leave owing money. It covers landlord expenses due to renters' noncompliance with lease or law. Under the statute, KSA 582550D, if a tenant fails to comply with this subsection, security deposit will be forfeited and landlord may recover rent due. This section speaks to those instances where renters will say, just use my deposit to cover my next month's rent. That is not allowed. That is when the landlord can say, you just forfeited your deposit and you still owe me the rent due. So be careful. Deposits are not to be used for rent, or deposits are never on the table when you're trying to negotiate with your landlord. Kansas law allows forfeiture of deposits if the tenant tries to use it to pay rent only if the forfeiture is stated in bold letters in the lease. The tenant will still owe the rent money. Again, never on the table. Security deposits are never on the table when you're trying to negotiate in paying your rent. When do I have to pay my deposit? When should my deposit be paid to my landlord? How much deposit should I collect from my tenant? It's a two-way street. Under KSA 582550, security deposits are paid by tenant at the beginning of the tenancy. The security deposit amount and date paid should be included as part of the lease agreement. And at HCCI, we always encourage people to keep receipts, to get receipts, keep receipts, always get and keep your receipt. The security deposits are held by landlords until the end of tenancy, and it's protection if there's damages or unpaid rent to the property. The security deposits are not automatically forfeited. They are supposed to be returned to the tenant at the end of tenancy, or any security deposit held by the landlord must be reflected in an itemized list in a written notice delivered to the tenant. So at the end of your tenancy, you're moving out, you've cleaned your apartment, everything is nice, fixed up, then you ask for your deposit back. If you do not get it back, this section says Any deposit held by the landlord must be reflected in an itemized list, and a written notice must be given to the tenant. If at the end of your tenancy, the landlord says that he needs to clean the carpet, he needs to fix holes in the walls, and he is going to deduct that from your security deposit, that is all allowed under KSA 58-2550B. It says landlord shall return balance of security deposit to the tenant and in no event to exceed 30 days. So landlords can deduct from your security deposit any damages or anything they have to do to fix the apartment to get it back up to speed. But if there's any leftover money in that deposit amount, they have up to 30 days to return it back to the tenant. Security deposits. There is a limit as to what landlords can charge for security deposits. The legal limits are defined in statute KSA 58-2550A. It states for an unfurnished unit, the landlord can charge up to 1 month's rent. For a furnished unit, the landlord can charge 1.5 months rent. And for a mobile home, a landlord can charge 2 months lot rent. Other types of deposit, what about pet deposit? Again, it is discussed, the legal limits are discussed in KSA 58-2550A. What if I have a pet? How much deposit can landlords charge me? Under this section, it says landlords can charge up to a half month's rent. This is not a per pet charge, this is total, a half month's rent. Once again, landlords may use your security deposit for any accrued rent that's unpaid, any physical damage beyond normal wear and tear, or other damages that the landlord feels that he needs to be paid for. Now, the key to a lot of these charges would be beyond normal wear and tear to your apartment carpet, walls, all of those things that are found in the apartment. If the landlord withholds your deposit, what are you to do? Again, per the statute, under security deposit, KSA 58-2550C, a tenant may recover all or part of the deposit plus 1.5 times in damages if the landlord wrongfully withholds the deposit. What this is saying, again, the question, if the landlord says he is not going to give you your deposit back, then you have this recourse under KSA 58-2550C. And what that statute says is the responsibilities of the landlord. The landlord has up to 30 days to return your deposit, and or he is required to give you a list of damages or a list showing why he is retaining all or a portion of your deposit. He is required by law to do that. He cannot just say, I'm going to keep your deposit and that's that. They have to give you an explanation, and they have to give you a list of why and to show you what they are charging you for and if they're going to keep any or part of your deposit. If they do not do that within 30 days, again, the tenant may recover all or part of the deposit plus 1.5 times in damages in court if they are awarded those damages by the judge. All this is part of the wrongful withholding of your deposit by your landlord. If you have any questions regarding deposits, please call the Housing and Credit Counseling, Inc. at Topeka. Our number is 785-234-0217, or you may visit our website at www.hcci-ks.org. Any questions that you may have regarding notices and the number of notices and where and when, please call the Housing and Credit Counseling Incorporated at 785-234-0217 or go to our website at www.hcci-ks.org.